Welcome to my class of operating system. Today we will learn CPU scheduling. Under CPU scheduling we will learn round robin scheduling, shortest job first scheduling and priority scheduling. These are three types of scheduling. Earlier we have learned FCFS scheduling. Now, what is round robin scheduling? Round robin scheduling algorithm is designed specially for time sharing system. Round robin algorithm is designed specially for time sharing system. It is similar to FCFS scheduling, but preemption is added to enable the system to switch between processes. A small unit of time called a time quantum or time slice is defined. A time quantum is generally from 10 to 100 milliseconds in length. This algorithm, where each process is assigned a fixed time slot in a cyclic way, which is also known as time quantum. The ready queue is treated as a circular queue. The CPU scheduler goes around the ready queue, allocating the CPU to each process for a time interval of up to one time quantum. How the CPU is assigned? CPU is assigned to the process on the basis of FCFS for a fixed amount of time. The fixed amount of time is called as a time quantum or time slice. After the time quantum expires, the running process is preempted and sent to the ready queue. It is always preemptive in nature. So, to implement round robin scheduling, we keep the ready queue as a FIFO queue of process. New processes are added to the tail of the ready queue. The CPU scheduler picks the first process from ready queue, sets a timer to interrupt after one time quantum and dispatches the process. One of two things will then happen. The process may have a CPU burst of less than one time quantum. So in this case, the process itself will release the CPU voluntarily since the time quantum is less than 1. So now processes are added to the tail of the ready queue, and what I said, that if time quantum is less than 1, it voluntarily releases. The scheduler will then proceed to the next process in the ready queue. Otherwise, if the CPU burst of currently running process is longer than one time quantum, the timer will go off and will cause an interrupt to the operating system. A context switch will be executed and the process will be put at the tail of the ready queue. The CPU scheduler will then select the next process in the ready queue. This is the process of selecting different processes from the queue. So, round robin is specially designed for time sharing system. It is similar FCFS but added preemption concept. Preemption concept is the feature of round robin scheduling. A small unit of time called time quantum is defined. Each process gets a small unit of CPU time. Just I told, it is known as time quantum, usually 10 to 100 milliseconds. After this time has elapsed, the process is preempted and added to the end of the ready queue. Now consider one problem. the average waiting time under RR policy is often long. Consider the following set of processes that arrive at time 0 with the length of CPU burst given in millisecond. If we use the time quantum of 20 milliseconds, or then if it use the time quantum 20, then process P1 gets the first 20 milliseconds. And since process P1 requires another time, since it cannot be completed in 20 milliseconds, so it is preempted after the first time quantum and the CPU is given to the next process in the queue, P2. Process P2 doesn't need 20 milliseconds, so it quits before its time quantum expires. The CPU is then given to the next process, P3. Once each process has received one time quantum, the CPU is returned to process P1 for an additional time quantum. The resulting RR schedule is shown in the NAT chart. If there are n processes in the ready queue and the time quantum is q, then each process gets 1 by n of the CPU time in chunks of at most q time units at once. No process waits more than n minus 1 q time unit. It means waiting time is not much. No process has to wait for long. Now this is something about the performance of RR scheduling. Performance if Q is large, greater than equal to FIFO. If Q is large and greater than, then it follows FIFO. Also, we can say that the performance of RR algorithm depends heavily on the size of time quantum. At one extreme, if the time quantum is extremely large, RR policy is same as the FCFS policy. In contrast, if the time quantum is very small, then say 1 millisecond, then RR approach is called process sharing, although it is a theoretical concept, and it creates the appearance that each of n processes has its own processor running at 1 by nth speed of the real processor. This approach was used in Control Data Corporation hardware to implement 10 peripheral processors with only one set of hardware and 10 sets of register. The hardware executes one instruction for one set of registers, then goes on to next one. This cycle continues, resulting in 10 slow processors rather than one fast one. Typically, higher average turnaround time than shortest job first, but better response. Thus, we want the time quantum to be large with respect to the context. We can say that we desire the time quantum to be large with respect to the context switch time. If the context switch time is approximately 10% of the time quantum, then about 10% of CPU time will be spent in context switching. Now, the performance of round robin algorithm depends heavily on the time quantum, as I have earlier said, and already I have explained this point. Also, the advantage and disadvantage is easy to implement, and it is not based on the characteristic of process. Commonly used in interactive sharing system due to its preemptive activity. In interactive system, it is used allocates CPU fairly. It means CPU time is not wasted. Now what is the disadvantage? Performance depend on selection of a good time quantum. So a good time quantum needs to be selected so that the performance remains good. Context switching increases if a good time quantum is not used. Context switch increase if the time quantum is not selected properly. So shortest job first scheduling, SJF. Two schemes, one is non-preemptive, another is preemptive. Once CPU given to the process, it cannot be preempted until completes its CPU burst. Now this one is non-preemptive, and then preemptive. If a new process arrives with CPU burst length less than remaining time of current executing process, this scheme is known as shortest remaining time first, SRTF. So there are two schemes, one is non-preemptive, another is preemptive. One is non-preemptive, another is preemptive. This is the NAT chart of shortest job first scheduling, non-preemptive one. Consider the process. There are P1, P2, P3, P4, and arrival time and burst time is also given. So average waiting time, the waiting time for process P1 is 0, and then again for process P2 it is 7, process P3 it is 8. Likewise the waiting time is given, and then average waiting time is 4. Again, shortest job first scheduling, preemptive one, gives the time scheduling as 3. So we can see that preemptive job scheduling gives better performance than non-preemptive one. Advantages of SJF algorithm: the scheduling algorithm is probably optimal. Minimum average time for a given set of processes, decreases waiting time for short processes, increases waiting time for long processes. Average waiting time is decreased in case of SJF. SJF algorithm is used frequently in long-term CPU scheduling. Actually, different types of scheduling algorithms are chosen based on their characteristics. So SJF algorithm, it is best used when the CPU scheduling is of long term. Disadvantages: difficulty in knowing the length of the next CPU request or CPU burst. SJF algorithm cannot be used for short-term CPU scheduling. These are the two disadvantages. You have to keep this in mind that SJF algorithm always works for long-term CPU scheduling. Now we go to priority scheduling. What is priority scheduling? Priority scheduling, we assign the SJF algorithm is a special case of priority scheduling. A priority is associated with each process, and the process with highest priority gets the CPU or allocated the CPU first. SJF algorithm is simply a priority algorithm where priority P is inverse of next CPU bus. The larger the CPU bus, the lower the priority. Now this is one of the example of priority scheduling. We consider that processes are arrived in the order P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 in milliseconds. The average waiting time is 8.2 milliseconds. Priority can be defined either internally or externally. Priority scheduling, the problem is starvation. Starvation. The low priority process may never execute, but the solution is aging. As time progresses, it increases the priority of the process. This is the concept of priority scheduling. Now, what are advantages and disadvantages of priority scheduling? Simple algorithm. Important jobs are done quickly, can have a preemptive version. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantages is process starvation can be a problem. However, process starvation problem is removed with the help of aging. With aging, what we do? We increase the size of the process, or we reduce the reduce the age of the process, so that it gets priority, it gets higher priority and is allocated the queue. Thank you for watching. Hope you have understood the concept. Hope you have understood the concept